Good morning, y'all. It is Wednesday, the 24th of April, 2024, and it's almost hump day, almost the middle of the day, middle of the week. Hump day over the hump doesn't start again until 12:01 in whatever time zone you're in. Some folks it's already over 12:01. That'd be European countries and further east than that, but I digress. That's too much stuff in my brain. Um, yeah, I hope you're having a good week. And it's been an okay week for me work wise. And got some things going on, need some prayer about and direction. So, Lord's direction. I'll just put it that way. As far as work goes. And I've prayed about this before. And I'm just asking again for your prayer now. So, pray for that. Pray for one another. And just remember, we need prayer. We need to be praying for each other. So, I am getting to the end of First Corinthians chapter 7, and I'm coming to a passage that I don't know the clear answer to. I'll be honest. I will read something that gives a couple explanations, but then also gives reasons why those explanations don't make sense. Because honestly, I don't have a clue what this means. And if I don't know what it means, I'm very honest. I will tell you. A lot of what I get from reading the Bible and notes and things like that. And if there's passages I don't understand, I'll cross-reference them. But when it comes to this passage, no clue. And I'm not going to fake it till I make it when I come across something like this. So I'm going to read the passage, and then I'm going to go to Dr. Ruckman, Peter Ruckman's commentary, and read to you what his explanations could be, the two standard interpretations of it, and then he gives reasons why it doesn't make sense. And then he closes with, I don't know, or ich weiß nicht, I think is how you say it, which means I don't know. And that's what I'm going to go with this one. I don't know for sure. If you know what it is, you have 100% certainty that's what it is, share it with me. Because this is one of those passages, I don't have a clue. All right, start here at verse 36. 1 Corinthians 7, verse 36. But if any man think that he behaveth himself uncomely towards his virgin, if she pass the flower of her age, and need so require, let him do what he will, he sinneth not, let them marry. Nevertheless, he that standeth steadfast in his heart, having no necessity, but hath power over his own will, and hath so decreed in his heart that he will keep his virgin, doeth well. So then, he that giveth her in marriage doeth well, but he that giveth her not in marriage doeth better. The wife is bound by the law so long as the husband liveth. I understand this part. But if her husband be dead, she is at liberty to be married to whom she will, only in the Lord. But if she be as happier to, if so she abide after my judgment, and I think also that I have the Spirit of God. Okay. I'm going to answer the last part of this because I do know the answer. It's that other part, I don't know. So, this last part, verse 39, the wife is bound by the law as long as her husband liveth, but if her husband be dead, she is at liberty to be married to whom she will, only in the Lord. That is saying, clearly, if a woman is married, her husband dies, then she can remarry if she wants to. The same case is if a wife dies, the husband is free to get remarried. There's no need for any kind of divorce because the husband's dead or the wife is dead. So they can remarry. That's plain dry, plain cut, clear, and simple. Now, again, we've looked at the reasons for divorce. 3 reasons for divorce in the Bible. 1, unbelieving spouse decides they no longer want to be married. It's an unsaved spouse, and they leave. 2, fornication / adultery. You can leave. 3 is a abusive spouse. If you have an abusive spouse, you can leave and get divorced. We showed that in Proverbs. Not everybody agrees with that, but you go to the scripture, it's pretty clear when it says it's better to dwell in the wilderness than with a contentious and angry woman. And that means leaving. It means getting out. So those are the 3 reasons. And then you have, of course, death, which I don't consider this a divorce. It's just the person's dead. In heaven, we're neither married or given in marriage. We're like the angels in heaven, where there is no marriages. So in heaven, it doesn't matter. Down here, it does kind of matter. What do you want to be married or stay single? And in this passage, Paul's saying, look, it's okay if you want to get remarried. But if you want to stay single, it's okay too. And it's actually, it might be even better to stay single. When it comes to getting divorced, it may be better to stay single after you get divorced. But if you can't contain yourself, then it's better to marry than to burn. Just like a single person, if they cannot contain themselves, and we're talking physically wise, it's better to marry than to burn. Now, going back to this passage, again, the first part of this, verses 36 through 38, I don't know for sure. I really don't know for sure. Now, I can give a supposition that really Paul's talking about if a guy wants to stay a virgin or a lady wants to stay a virgin, they can stay a virgin, right? I don't know, though. Now, let's go to Dr. Ruckman's commentary, and I'll give you two answers from it, and then reasons why it possibly could not be. But if a man thinks he behaved himself uncomely towards his virgin, she passed the flower of her age and need so require, let him do what he will, he sinneth not, but let them marry. Nevertheless, he that standeth steadfast in his heart, having no necessity, but hath power over his own will, and hath so decreed in his heart that he will keep his virgin, doeth well. To me, it possibly means that if he decides that he wants to stay single, he can stay single. And if he's dating somebody and they have dated until they're older and they never got married and they never consummated the marriage, because remember, marriage is actually the physical act, the joining of flesh. That's the actual marriage. If they've just stayed, dating relationship, courting, and they decide they don't want to get married and she passed her flower of her age, and that means past childbearing age, then he can just decide, I don't want to be married. Or if they even meet later in life and they decide they're not going to consummate the marriage and have a physical relation, then they can stay virgins. They can stay single, but they cannot do the physical act, because once they do the physical act, in God's eyes, that is a marriage. Now, this brings me to another touchy subject. Some people say, and they teach among Bible-believing circles, that physical intimacy, the only reason for, and this is some deep Bible-believing circles, the only reason for physical intimacy is childbearing. And that's what they teach, and that's what they stand for, and I don't agree with that. I don't. Now, is that the main purpose of physical interaction between a husband and a wife? Yes, that is. But that's not the only reason. There is a deep physical, intimate connection in physical intimacy and an emotional connection. So I will stay clear of those that think that that is the only reason that you should be physically, intimately involved with your wife. I don't agree with that. And I think that's legalism. Flat out. Now, but, if you decide that you're going to date, whether you're younger or older, and you decide you want to stay a virgin and you don't want to get married, it is better in God's eyes to stay single, and we've looked at the reasons. Because you're better to serve God. You're better equipped because you will devote more focus to serving God than if you're married. Because then you really have to balance things out. So, I didn't even get to Dr. Ruckman's notes on this, but that's kind of one of the possibilities of this. Is that It's a man deciding he just wants to stay a virgin. And that virgining, he's talking about himself. And I can actually kind of see that. But am I 100% sure? I don't know. The other possible teaching is a father decides to not let his daughter marry at all. That's the other teaching. The father decides he doesn't want his daughter ever to be married, so he forbids her to get married and makes her stay single. But the problem is, if she's on her own and she's not living there, number one, she's not under his authority as the household goes. Now, he's still her father. However, he's not over her physically or lawfully under God's eyes. She's still her father. He's still her father, but God is her master. So I don't agree with that one either. That one definitely is legalism. That a father has so much power over his daughter that he forbids her ever to get married. Also, I think there's something mentally wrong in that situation, but that's another issue. I don't want to get too far involved in that one. So those are the two possibilities in this passage. Now we know the flower of her age, that means she is past the point of giving birth to children. That's what that means. So, that being said, I don't know for certainty. I would lean more towards the first thing I said. That is just a man or a wife or a man or a woman deciding they don't want to physically consummate a marriage and they decided they want to stay single. That makes more sense. The other one, no, that's legalism. A father has so much power that he absolutely refuses his daughter to ever get married. The only case that would be is if maybe she's physically or mentally handicapped. But then, and mentally handicapped to the point she can't make her own decisions. That's a different story. But if it's just a husband or a father having so much control over his family that he refuses to let his daughter ever get married, that's wrong. And I don't agree with that part. That's why I don't think that's what God's talking about through Paul in this passage. Those are the two things. We're now done with 1 Corinthians chapter 7. We will be moving on to 1 Corinthians chapter 8 starting tomorrow. I hope you have a good day. God bless you all, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.